What's up, YouTube? It's another reaction video from your boy Ducky OG from the OG Clan, and today I got conspiracy theories to binge at work and sleep. Um, and I think we got some juicy ones, man. I haven't really went through the video, but I kind of looked at the topics of the video, like where it has timestamps or whatever. So I think that we got some juicy ones or whatever. So hopefully it's good. But if you're already in the video, like the video. If you're already in here, drop a comment. Let me know what's up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you think, man.
This is a theory that suggests the Earth's atmosphere, which is essential for life as we know it, may actually be a toxic or addictive substance for living creatures. Proponents of this theory argue that the very air we breathe could be slowly poisoning us or creating a state of dependence, much like a drug. They point to the fact that prolonged exposure to certain components of air, such as oxygen, can lead to oxidative stress and cellular damage over time. Some advocates of this theory suggest that the negative effects of air may be more pronounced in urban environments, where pollution and other contaminants are more prevalent. They argue that the
Okay, so that doesn't even make sense. So if it's pollution and stuff is more prevalent, then wouldn't that be the problem and not the air?
increasing rates of respiratory illnesses, allergies, and other health problems in modern society could be linked to the poisonous nature of the air we inhale. Moreover, some proponents of this theory draw comparisons between the human need for air and addiction to substances, suggesting that our dependence on oxygen may be a form of biological addiction. They point out that the body's respiratory system is designed to constantly seek out and obtain air, much like how an addict craves and seeks their substance of choice.
Okay, but couldn't that just be because that's what we need to survive? Like, I don't know. Like this, like, let me stop this. Let me try to actually understand.
Given the necessity of air for life, its proponents argue that the long-term effects of atmospheric exposure on living organisms may be more complex and potentially detrimental than we currently understand.
Okay, so I fully, like, I'm with him. I'm gonna keep watching it and understand it and trying to understand. But like, humans live to like over 100 years old sometimes, so it's like, how bad can air really be amongst all the other things? Like, I don't know, bro. This one isn't really all that crazy, but like, let me try to understand.
Alchemy, with its pursuit of the philosopher's stone and the promise of immortality, has been fascinating people for centuries, leading to a dedicated group of practitioners who firmly believe in its reality. While skeptics may dismiss alchemy as mere pseudoscience or fantasy, those who have delved into the vast literature and symbolism surrounding the practice argue that there is more to it than meets the eye. Proponents of alchemy point to the fact that it has been studied and practiced by some of the greatest minds in history, including famous figures such as Isaac Newton and Robert Boyle, suggesting that there must be some merit to the discipline. They argue that the secretive nature of alchemical knowledge and the use of cryptic symbolism in alchemical texts are not meant to obscure the truth, but rather to protect it from those who might misuse or misunderstand its power. Believers in alchemy often view it as a spiritual pursuit as much as a physical one, with the ultimate goal being the transformation of the self alongside the transmutation of matter.
What would you want to transmute yourself for? Like, what, like, isn't that the ultimate sin? I don't know. This is coming from a Full Metal Alchemist fan, so don't listen to me if I sound crazy. But like, if you want to transmute yourself, then I just feel like that's forbidden fruit in their eyes. Am I not correct? Like, what the heck?
The psychological and spiritual aspect of alchemy has been explored by notable figures such as Carl Jung, who saw in its symbolism a profound reflection of the process of individuation and the integration of the unconscious mind. Some practitioners claim to have achieved tangible results through their alchemical work, such as the creation of medicinal elixirs, or even the production of small amounts of gold, though these claims remain unverified by the scientific community. The idea that alchemy may hold the key to unlocking hidden truths about the nature of reality and the potential of human consciousness continues to inspire many to pursue its study, despite the lack of widespread acceptance or empirical evidence. While the physical transmutation of lead into gold remains unproven, some argue that the true value of alchemy lies in its ability to facilitate personal growth, spiritual awakening, and a deeper understanding of the mysteries of the universe. As with many esoteric traditions, the allure of alchemy lies in its promise of transcendence and the attainment of a higher state of being, which may explain why it continues to attract dedicated practitioners despite its controversial status.
It is interesting. There's like even like from what I've learned before, because like I said, I'm a Full Metal Alchemist fan. That's my favorite anime of all time. And with that being said, there's a lot of dope things inside of alchemy that kind of help you understand the creation of life and whatnot. But I don't know if I fully subscribe to it or subscribe to it at all. But there is a lot of fruitful things that you could get from alchemy for sure.
Ultimately, the reality of alchemy remains a matter of personal belief and experience, with those who have embraced its teachings and practices maintaining a steadfast conviction in its validity, even in the face of skepticism and dismissal from the mainstream scientific community. For decades, the concept of alien abduction has fascinated people worldwide. It entails individuals recounting experiences of being forcefully taken by non-human beings and undergoing a range of physical and psychological examinations. While the mainstream scientific community largely dismisses these claims as the result of factors such as sleep paralysis, false memories, and mental health issues, many who have experienced alleged abductions maintain a firm belief in the reality of their encounters.
Right.
Proponents of the extraterrestrial hypothesis argue that the consistency of abduction narratives across different cultures and time periods suggests a common, objective experience rather than a purely psychological or cultural phenomenon. They point to the fact that abduction reports often include details that were not widely known or discussed in popular culture at the time, such as the description of gray aliens, which only entered the public consciousness after the famous Betty and Barney Hill case in 1961. Moreover, some abductees have reported physical evidence of their
I don't know, man. Like aliens and stuff. I just feel like, personally, like I believe it, but like these encounters and stuff like that, bro. Like I believe them too, but it's just such a slippery slope when it comes to that stuff, bro. Because you want to believe that an advanced life form that forcefully abducts someone that has the capability to do that also has the capability to cover up its tracks. So like I don't know, bro. Like this is all crazy to me, but it's very interesting.
Experiences, such as unexplained scars, bruises, or implants, which they claim to have acquired during the alleged abduction. While skeptics argue that such markings could
that's one thing too. Like I want to I just want to say that maybe I do it to myself or whatever. But sometimes I have like random bruises or scratches on myself. Sometimes when I wake up, like or like I don't know, like somebody has randomly like maybe like I have my shirt off one day and someone's like, "Hey, what's that scratch right there?" And I'm like, "Dude, I don't even know where that happened or what that came from." Like I don't know. Does anybody else have other experiences like that? Because I feel like I'll be having experiences like that, but I don't want to like pinpoint it to anything and say that it's part of this because it's probably not. And I probably just itch myself at night when I'm sleeping or whatever. But like I have a lot of those experiences too.
be self-inflicted or the result of unrelated medical conditions, believers maintain that they are proof of physical interaction with extraterrestrial beings. Additionally, the intense emotional impact reported by alleged abductees, often described as a form of post-traumatic stress disorder, is seen by some as an indication that these experiences are more than mere hallucinations or fantasies. The fact that many abductees are initially reluctant to share their stories due to fear of ridicule or stigmatization, and often only do so after years of struggling with the consequences of their alleged abductions, is taken as a sign of the authenticity of their claims. Some researchers, such as Harvard psychiatrist John E. Mack, have studied the abduction phenomenon extensively and concluded that while the exact nature of these experiences remains unclear, they cannot be easily dismissed as the product of mental illness or deception. Mack argued that the abduction phenomenon represents a complex interplay between physical reality, consciousness, and the realm of the extraordinary, challenging our understanding of the nature of reality itself. The idea that alien abductions could be a genuine phenomenon is further supported by the long history of reported encounters with non-human entities across various cultures, from ancient religious texts to modern-day UFO sightings. This suggests that the abduction experience may be a contemporary manifestation of a deeper, more fundamental aspect of the human experience.
I mean, yes, and if you don't understand what that meant, I feel like what he's saying is that basically with everybody's collective experience, and for there to be so many accounts of abductions, that this can't just be something that people are making up. It's got to be some type of validity to the situation, whether it just be a manifestation of the human consciousness, the collective human consciousness, because what they say is that there is one huge collective human consciousness that everybody's connected to, and different frequencies depend on where you're connected to in that consciousness or whatever at whatever time. Um, and with that being said, bro, like I definitely believe that there is some validity to the situation, because like I don't believe that like every single person who's ever said that they've been abducted is lying. Like there's definitely some type of situation that's happening to where they don't feel, or they've been taken out of their comfort or forcefully taken somewhere where they weren't, or they were captive against their will by beings that they didn't know what they were. So yeah, this is crazy, bro, for sure.
One that has been interpreted through the lens of each culture's prevailing beliefs and worldviews. While the debate surrounding the reality of alien abductions remains unresolved, the persistence and consistency of these reports, as well as the profound impact they have on those who experience them, ensure that the phenomenon will continue to be a subject of fascination and study for years to come. The notion that the bubonic plague, which ravaged Europe during the Middle Ages, might have been caused by extraterrestrial pathogens brought to Earth
I always wondered what was up with the bird mask. Like, is that because it was to scare away the mice? Like, I'm confused. I'm so
by
confused.
alien visitors has been a subject of speculation in some fringe circles. Proponents of this theory argue that the sudden and widespread nature of the plague, as well as its high mortality rate and the lack of understanding of its cause at the time, suggest that it may have originated from a source beyond our planet. They point to historical accounts of unusual celestial phenomena, such as comets and meteor showers, that coincided with outbreaks of the plague, suggesting that these events could have been the means by which alien microbes were introduced into Earth's atmosphere.
Right. Yeah.
Some even go
True.
as far as to speculate that the plague might have been a deliberate act of biological warfare waged by advanced extraterrestrial civilizations
To try to
seeking
wipe us
reduce the
out,
human population,
or
or to manipulate the
that's an interesting take, to like to maybe dwindle the population down to more of a like a sizable controllable means, because I can only imagine like through times, bro, I can only imagine how many people were on the planet, bro. But then again, it's like just think about when you travel, bro. Just think about how much trees and how much land you pass when you're traveling, bro. That's what always makes me not believe that we're overpopulated as like in a as a world, because like they say we could all fit, the whole population could fit in the small corner of California, which I thoroughly believe, bro, because there's so much space and land and just untouched or documented area like that. I just don't believe that we're overpopulated at all. And like, so I could believe that aliens would dwindle us down to a sizable controllable population, just in case they ever wanted to do anything, or if they ever needed to survey us in an actual significant manner.
course of human history. While the idea of alien-borne diseases may seem far-fetched, it is not entirely without precedent in the realm of scientific speculation. The concept of panspermia, which proposes that life on Earth originated from microorganisms carried here by asteroids, comets, or even intentionally by alien species, has been a
I
topic.
mean, that basically is what it had to be, because if the Big Bang is real, then slowly things started to smash together, and that's what happened. Like that's what, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what they say happened anyway. Like that's literally what the Big Bang consists of, is tiny little things from nothing started to be something, and all those things started to collect together and smash together and finally make a whole being, and then the other beings came from that stuff, and then more stuff started to smash in, and then then thus comes the world.
Topic of discussion among some scientists. In the case of the bubonic plague, however, the evidence for an extraterrestrial origin is largely speculative, and relies heavily on the interpretation of historical accounts and the supposed coincidence of celestial events with disease outbreaks. Skeptics argue that the plagues are adequately explained by terrestrial factors, such as the spread of the Yersinia pestis bacterium by fleas infected from rodents, and that invoking alien involvement is unnecessary and unsupported by concrete evidence. Moreover, the idea of alien pathogens successfully infecting humans is complicated by the fact that such microbes would have evolved in a completely different biological context, making it unlikely that they would be compatible with Earth-based life forms. Despite the lack of scientific support, the theory of an alien origin for the bubonic plague persists in some circles, fueled by the enduring fascination with the possibility of extraterrestrial life and its potential impact on human history. While the idea may captivate the imagination, it remains firmly in the realm of speculation, as no concrete evidence has emerged to support the claim of an alien hand in one of history's deadliest pandemics. The idea that humans may have been genetically engineered by extraterrestrial beings has gained traction in some fringe circles, despite a lack of concrete scientific evidence to support this claim.
This is one that I mean, because like God is technically an alien, so I could kind of subscribe, but like they'd have to explain it really well for me to be really in. So
Proponents of this theory argue that the rapid advancement of human intelligence and technology, especially in recent centuries, suggests that our species may have been artificially enhanced by a more advanced civilization. They point to the fact that humans possess a number of unique traits, such as our highly developed brains and our ability to use complex language and tools, which set us apart from other animals on Earth. Some even go as far as to suggest that these traits could not have evolved naturally and must have been deliberately designed by an intelligent creator. Supporters of this theory also cite ancient religious texts and mythologies that describe gods or divine beings descending from the heavens.
I just feel like if you're a coherent being, bro, you just know at the end of the day, it all leads back to someone being another person being coherent in the aspect of creation, because like we are creators, like as humans we're creators, and I would like to believe that with the world being in perfect sync, like there's a like everything has a counterpart, everything has something that complements it, and everything has something that negatively affects it just as much as the complications or the complements. So with that being said, with everything being in unison and with us being who we are, and then us also over the years and through time transitioning into the role of God with all of our creation and all of our trials and errors and tribulations, I just feel like no matter what, bro, you're like, if you think genuinely, like you it leads back to a creator, regardless if it's God or, you know, Christianity's God or the Muslim God or just whoever. Like it just leads back to somebody being God.
To interact with and influence early human civilizations. They interpret these stories as possible evidence of extraterrestrial intervention in human history, with advanced aliens being mistaken for deities by our primitive ancestors. Additionally, some believers in the alien engineering hypothesis point to the apparent missing link in the fossil record of human evolution.
What? And sorry for all the pauses, y'all, but like, what defines a deity? You know what I'm saying? Like, because if they do have the power to do all this stuff, you know what I mean? What makes them not a deity? You know, like that's like they literally have designed this stuff and had the power that we give a deity. So if they, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean mistake them for? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, to me, that's the type of questions that I ask in my head. Like, if they call them deities and that's the power that they gave them and that's the power that they actually had, then that's what they actually were. Or the people who had discovered them, I think, should get to name them, or we should respect what they call them or whatever. You know what I mean?
Arguing
if it's
that
true.
The absence of clear transitional forms between early hominids and modern humans could be explained by a sudden, artificial leap forward in our development. While the idea of alien genetic engineering may seem far-fetched to many, its proponents maintain that it is a plausible explanation for the rapid advancement and unique characteristics of our species. They argue that just as humans are now beginning to explore the possibilities of genetic modification and artificial intelligence, a sufficiently advanced extraterrestrial civilization could have already mastered these technologies and applied them to the development of life on other planets, including Earth. The scientific community largely dismisses the notion of alien genetic engineering, as it lacks any credible evidence and relies heavily on speculative interpretation of mythology and gaps in the fossil record. Mainstream scientists maintain that the evolution of human intelligence and technology can be adequately explained through the principles of natural selection and the cumulative effect of cultural transmission over thousands of generations. It remains firmly in the realm of science fiction and fringe theory, as no concrete proof has emerged to support this extraordinary
What is this
claim.
long thing? What is this thing with these big old arms and whatnot, bro? Like, what is this? It looks so interesting, bro. And look at his face. It looks so derpy, but it looks so cool at the same time.
In a world where collective belief has the power to shape reality, the line between fact and fiction becomes increasingly blurred, as the proliferation of conspiracy theories threatens to fundamentally alter the fabric of our existence. The concept of subjective reality, where the fervent belief of a significant number of people can retroactively change history and manifest previously imagined entities, presents a terrifying scenario in which the human imagination becomes a double-edged sword, capable of both creation and destruction on an unprecedented scale. This idea raises profound questions about the nature of truth and the role of belief in shaping our understanding of the world around us, challenging the notion that reality is a fixed, objective constant. If enough people were to believe in the existence of extraterrestrial life, for example, it is conceivable that aliens could suddenly become a tangible presence on Earth.
I believe that. I believe that. Like, that's crazy. Like that. Like, to put things into perspective. Like, if that. Like, that's. I feel like that is true. Like, if enough people believe it, like, that's what. Like, I feel like that is what. Like, the devil or Satan kind of plays on. Like, because if enough people don't believe, you know what I'm saying, then inherently, that's what makes it technically true or whatever. But then in the same sense, then you don't. Like, I don't know. It's a complicated thing. I don't want to get into that, but like, I just want to say that because that's kind of like, it makes sense, yo. Because if enough people think it, I do think that it could manifest into reality
Woven into the
because of the
tapestry
energy
of our
behind it.
history, as if they had always been there. Similarly, if a significant portion of the population were to subscribe to the idea that a shadowy cabal of elites controls the world from behind the scenes, this belief could manifest as a reality, with the alleged conspirators gaining actual power and influence. In such a world, the role of organizations like the fictional Department of Truth would become crucial, as they work to prevent the most dangerous and destructive conspiracy theories from taking root in the public consciousness. However, the morality of such an organization is inherently questionable, as it essentially seeks to control and manipulate reality by determining which beliefs are allowed to flourish and which must be suppressed. This raises the specter of a world in which the very nature of truth is subject to the whims of those in power.
I was about to pause the video and like kind of defend them, like as if like, you know, what they were doing was right or wrong, like or right, because like, you know, they're defending the world from certain conspiracy theories, but like I kind of just forgot what he said by saying it's just their morality would be in supreme question, which it would be, because you wouldn't really know, like, how do you know, or how do we know that every belief that they don't want to happen is right for humanity, yo, and leaving it up to them would be worth questioning no matter what, and infinitely, because we would never know when their morality would change or if it would change. So like, yeah, I agree with this. I definitely agree.
Potential for abuse and the erosion of individual autonomy. Moreover, the idea that belief can shape reality has intriguing implications for the power of the human mind and the potential for individuals to manifest their deepest desires and fears. If a person's belief in their own abilities were strong enough, for example, it is possible that they could develop superhuman powers or even alter the course of their own life in ways that defy conventional understanding. Ultimately, The concept of subjective reality presents a fascinating and terrifying glimpse into a world where the boundaries between the real and the imagined are constantly shifting, and where the power of belief reigns supreme. This is an idea that all religions are essentially worshiping the same God, just through different lenses and cultural contexts.
I agree with that.
Proponents
Okay,
of
before we get into this one, I definitely for sure, hands down, agree. Like no contest, bro. No contest. Just because, like, if you read a lot of the religions, bro, a lot of the stories are the same, bro. Just with different characters, different names, and different scenery. But like it's the generally like the same thing.
this view argue that the common themes and moral teachings found across various faith traditions suggest a shared divine source, with each religion offering its own unique path to understanding and connecting with this higher power. They point to the prevalence of certain ethical principles, such as the Golden Rule, which appears in some form in nearly every major religion, as evidence of a universal truth that transcends individual belief systems. Additionally, the concept of a fallen or imperfect state of humanity, along with the promise of salvation or enlightenment, is a recurring motif in many religions, hinting at a shared understanding of the human condition and the need for spiritual growth. Some advocates of this perspective, such as the Baha'i Faith, go so far as to claim that the founders of the world's major religions, including Moses, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, and Muhammad, were all divinely inspired messengers sent by the same God to guide humanity in different times and places.
I can attest to that. That sounds really believable. Just because, like I said, once you read the stories, bro, like especially with the main religions, bro, like a lot of their stories are the same, or they have a lot of the same like similarities or same themes and stuff like that, yo. So like I just feel like no matter what, there's a general reoccurring thing that you cannot ignore with all religions.
This idea suggests that the apparent differences between religions are merely the result of cultural and historical contexts, rather than fundamental disagreements about the nature of the divine. However, critics of this viewpoint argue that it oversimplifies the rich diversity of religious beliefs and practices, ignoring the significant theological and philosophical differences that exist between traditions. They contend that the concept of a singular, universal God is itself a product of a monotheistic worldview, and may not accurately represent the beliefs of polytheistic or non-theistic religions. Moreover, the exclusive truth claims made by many religions.
Why did they got this? Why did they got this dude? Why does he look so stupid? Why does this dude right here? I'm so happy to know that. Why does this dude look so awful, bro? Like he looks literally stereotypical, bro. He looks so stereotypical, and none of the other ones really do.
Seem to contradict the notion that all faiths are ultimately pointing toward the same goal. Despite these challenges, the idea that all religions share a common core continues to resonate with many spiritual seekers and interfaith advocates, who see it as a means of promoting understanding and harmony among diverse belief systems. They argue that by focusing on the similarities rather than the differences between religions, we can foster a greater sense of unity and compassion in an increasingly interconnected world. The notion that the Amazon rainforest was largely shaped by human intervention over thousands of years has gained significant traction in recent years, challenging the long-held belief that the region represents a pristine, untouched wilderness. Proponents of this theory point to several lines of evidence that suggest ancient Amazonian tribes actively managed and cultivated the forest, creating a landscape that suited their agricultural and resource needs. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence is the presence of terra preta, a type of soil that is exceptionally fertile and can only be created through human activity, such as the incorporation of pottery shards and other organic matter. This man-made soil, which covers an area roughly the size of France within the Amazon basin, indicates that indigenous populations were actively enriching the soil to support their agriculture and way of life. The relative flatness of the Amazon rainforest, in contrast to the varied topography found in other forested regions around the world, has also been cited as potential evidence of human intervention. Some researchers suggest that this unique landscape could be the result of ancient Amazonians selectively cultivating and managing certain tree species.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, is that not what they would do though? If like, cause that's what we do as a species, bro. Every time we see something that's gonna benefit us, or if it has food, or if it's gonna make better tools, or if it's gonna make anything easier for us, bro, we're gonna cultivate that and make like, cause that's and then we take that and we make different things like corn. That's a genetically modified vegetable. So like I believe that. I believe that's for sure.
Effectively creating a vast garden-like environment that supported their communities. This theory is further supported by the observation that areas surrounding known archaeological sites in the Amazon tend to exhibit greater biodiversity and a higher concentration of useful plant species compared to more remote regions of the forest. This pattern suggests that the legacy of these ancient garden cities persists to this day, with the descendants of cultivated trees and plants continuing to thrive in the vicinity of former human settlements. While the extent to which the Amazon rainforest was shaped by human activity remains a topic of ongoing research and debate, the evidence supporting this theory has grown increasingly compelling in recent years. If true, it would mean that the Amazon is not merely a wild, untamed jungle, but rather a complex, culturally modified landscape that has been profoundly influenced by the indigenous populations who called it home for thousands of years. In the Ubaid period of ancient Mesopotamia, dating back to around 5000 BCE, archaeologists have uncovered a fascinating array of artifacts that have raised intriguing questions about the beliefs and mythology of this ancient civilization. Among the most enigmatic of these discoveries are the so-called lizard man figurines, found in large numbers alongside more conventional human figurines in what appears to be a burial chamber or religious site. These peculiar statuettes depict humanoid figures with distinctly reptilian features, such as elongated skulls.
There's no faces though. Like, why are they not showing any faces? Like, I'm sure they had some pictures with some of these people's faces, bro, or some of these statues' faces. Why are they headless and like they're very interesting and cool looking still, but like, come on, bro. Like, this is the only picture you got.
Scaly skin and lizard-like faces, posed in various positions that mirror those of the accompanying human figurines. The fact that these lizard man figurines were intermingled with the human ones, rather than being segregated or treated as distinct entities, has led some researchers to speculate that they may represent a genuine belief in a race of reptilian beings that coexisted with humans in ancient Mesopotamian society. This interpretation challenges the conventional notion that these figurines were merely symbolic representations of mythological creatures or deities, and instead suggests that the Ubaid people may have believed in the literal existence of a lizard man race.
Okay, yeah, these are the pictures I'm talking about right here, man. Like, oh my gosh, bro, like those, like, definitely looks like lizard people and their arms and stuff. Like, yeah, that's, oh my gosh, bro.
Point to the consistency and naturalism of the lizard man figurines' poses and features as evidence that they were modeled after real beings, rather than being purely imaginative or stylized representations. Furthermore, some have argued that the sheer number of these figurines discovered at the Ubaid site indicates that they held a significant place in the culture's beliefs and practices,
they had to,
perhaps even representing a previously unknown aspect of ancient Mesopotamian religion or cosmology. While the true nature and purpose of the Ubaid lizard man figurines remain a mystery, their presence alongside human figurines in a burial or religious context raises fascinating questions about the beliefs and worldview of this ancient civilization. As more research is conducted into the Ubaid culture and its artifacts, it is possible that new insights will emerge, shedding light on the enigmatic reptilian beings that appear to have captured the imagination of this ancient society.
This is weird. That was weird. That looks very believable.
Often translated as not self or non-self, is a central tenet in Buddhist philosophy, but its interpretation and implications have been the subject of much debate and misunderstanding among practitioners and scholars alike. While it is commonly assumed that the Buddha taught the absolute non-existence of the self, a closer examination of the suttas reveals a more nuanced perspective. The Buddha's primary concern was not to make metaphysical assertions about the ultimate reality of the self, but rather to guide his followers towards liberation from suffering by abandoning attachment to any notion of a permanent, unchanging, and controllable self. When the Buddha stated that the five aggregates, form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness, are not self, he was pointing out the futility of identifying with these impermanent.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Like I, that's interesting. That's very interesting because is it? I don't know, dog. Like that. Let's keep watching.
Conditioned phenomena as if they were a true enduring essence. However, this teaching should not be misconstrued as a categorical denial of the existence of the self. Instead, it is a pragmatic approach to breaking free from the cycle of craving, aversion, and delusion that arises from the misidentification with the aggregates. The Buddha's refusal to endorse either the view of the self's existence or non-existence can be seen as a skillful means to avoid the pitfalls of both eternalism and annihilationism, which he considered extreme views that hinder the path to awakening. By emphasizing the process of letting go of self-identification rather than making ontological claims, the Buddha steered his disciples towards a direct experience of the freedom that comes from relinquishing the burden of selfhood. This approach is exemplified in the Buddha's instruction to contemplate the aggregates as not mine, not I, not myself, a practice that enables the meditator to gradually disentangle from the habitual patterns of clinging without falling into the trap of nihilism. The Buddha's teachings on anatta, therefore, can be understood as a practical method for liberation, rather than a philosophical doctrine asserting the absolute non-existence of the self. By recognizing the limitations of language and conceptual thinking in capturing the ultimate nature of reality, one can approach the concept of anatta as a skillful means to let go of attachment and realize the freedom that lies beyond the illusion of selfhood. Ultimately,
This so like is it the art of disassociation? Like I'm not trying to laugh after, like I'm not trying to downplay it or anything, but like, so is it just disassociation? Like I don't know. I'd like to understand more for
the
sure.
Buddha's message was one of empowerment, inviting his followers to verify the truth of his teachings through their own direct experience, rather than relying on metaphysical speculation or blind belief. By engaging with the practice of self-inquiry and meditation, one can discover for oneself the liberating insight of anatta, transcending the age-old question of the self's existence or non-existence, and realizing the peace that surpasses all conceptual understanding.
Is that where nada comes from? Like if somebody asks you for something, you be like nada, like you feel me, or none yet. Like I don't know, like yeah, I don't know, bro. Like I hope y'all understand what I mean by that, bro. It's hard to explain, bro. But like you know what I mean, where the word nada comes from. Like you ain't getting nada, whatever. Like that's crazy. I don't know, that's crazy.
Ancient glyphs on Saturn moons refers to the idea that some of the moons orbiting Saturn may contain mysterious symbols or writing, possibly of extraterrestrial origin.
Interesting.
Proponents of this theory point to images captured by space probes, such as NASA's Cassini mission, which they claim reveal unusual patterns or structures on the surfaces of Saturn's moons. Some researchers have focused on the moon Iapetus, which features a prominent equatorial ridge that some believe
is that what all these people got this obsession with Saturn for, bro? Because like I'm pretty sure Saturn is what they call Satan. Like that's another name for him. And like I don't know, they just have a very strange, like people have a very strange obsession with Saturn rather than they do with other planets, like that and Pluto. But Pluto, we obviously know why, because we've been in the conspiracy that it is and isn't a planet for so long, since I was a kid, since before that probably. I'm not really super knowledgeable on that fact or whatever, but I do know that like throughout my years I've heard a lot of people reference Satan to Saturn and stuff like that.
Artificial in nature, perhaps the remnants of an ancient alien structure. They argue that the ridge's unusual shape and regularity suggest it may have been deliberately constructed rather than being a natural geological formation. Similarly, some advocates of this theory have drawn attention to the moon Enceladus, which is known for its cryovolcanic activity and subsurface ocean. They speculate that
Cryovolcanic.
the intricate patterns observed in the moon's icy surface could be encoded with information or
Let me.
messages.
I know. I hope you are as interested as me in that, because I gotta look that up. I don't know what a cryovolcanic thing is, but that sounds so cool. Cryo. Fuck. Cryovolcanic. The unusual properties of water dominated by cryolava, for example, means that cryovolcanic features are difficult to interpret using criteria applied to terrestrial volcanic features. Ceres, Europa, Ganymede, and Enceladus, Titan, Uranian moons, Triton. I guess that's another topic for another video, bro. But what it sounds like is it's just like water lava. I guess. I don't know. That sounds super cool
From
though.
an advanced civilization. Supporters of this idea often cite the fact that Saturn's moons have been a source of fascination and mystery for astronomers due to their unique features and potential habitability. They argue that the presence of ancient glyphs or symbols on these moons could indicate a past or present extraterrestrial presence in our solar system.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yo, that video was fire. This video was so fire, dog. So like, definitely shout out to them for making this video, bro. It was super cool, super interesting, man. Definitely different than something that I've ever posted before, but I've wanted to get into this content for so long, just because I do like, I want thinkers on my channel, right? I ain't gonna lie. Like, I don't want no bots. I don't want no brain rot. I don't want any like little, like, I mean, kids are fine to watch the content if they want to, you know, learn, or if they want to, if they enjoy the content or whatever. But like, I want people who use their brains, who are, you know, intellectual in that sense. So like, I've decided to put this type of content on the channel as well, just to see if we can get some of those people who actually like to talk and you know, figure out the deep intimate construct of this earth or this universe that we live in. But with that being said, y'all, I appreciate everybody who came through and decided to watch and stay to the end. If you were here right now watching and listening to my voice, man, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you comment and let me know what you think, what I should react to next, and where this video kind of took you in your head. And, you know, let's just have a intellectual conversation down below. But with that being said, man, I appreciate you guys, man. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. It's your boy, Ducky OG from OG Clan. And my voice, peace, man.